morning and welcome to today's webinar, Profile Best Management. This webinar is the first of 5 in the series Mastering Apsis, where we will rediscover the core capabilities of Apsis 1 and share some best practice to help you be more successful. You will also get a chance to meet the Apsis teams and get tips from our own experts in the different areas. My name is Agneta Nevell, and I am the Product Marketing Manager here at Apsis. The subject matter expert joining me today is Opri Westerinen, our Head of Professional Services. Good morning, Opri.
Good.
How are you today?
Good morning, Agneta, and so nice to see so many of you here today to hear more about profile-based management and Apsis 1 in general. Looking forward for the a little bit over 30 minutes that we have for today.
Yes, we're super excited. But before we get started, let's set the expectations of this webinar. We will go through some platform principles and basic functionality, alongside with some examples from both our own marketing and from working with clients. At the end of the webinar, we will have time for questions, we hope. So please put your thoughts and questions in the chat for us to answer. And of course, we will also share the recording and presentation with you after the webinar. So let's get started. First and foremost, we need to think about the key takeaways. Why are we here and what do we want to send with you when this half hour has passed? Let's see the key takeaways as a journey, where first we map, meaning we understand and connect the profiles. Who are they? What do we know about them? Then we move over to managing, how to organize and maintain the profiles, ensuring their data is up-to-date and structured, again, to make you efficient and successful. The goal at the end of this journey is to master your profiles in a clean, compliant, campaign-ready audience. And once your profiles and data model are in order and you have your permissions in place, you can utilize the structure to increase relevance and communicate efficiently. Before we even can start talking about anything here, we need to align on the definition of a profile. So profile-based management, what is a profile? A profile in Apsis 1 represents a person or an interaction. Every profile in Apsis 1 has a unique identifier, a key, to guarantee it's truly one of a kind, that it is unique. We have known profiles and unknown profiles. And a known profile is someone we can identify. It's an individual, a contact, a customer, a member. And an unknown profile is a visitor, a lead, or just a cookie, someone who's interacted with your website or campaigns, but hasn't yet shared who they are. Now, the keys to these profiles are different. So for a known profile, the key would be an email address or a CRM ID because it needs to be connected to someone we can identify. An unknown profile is connected to, for instance, a cookie ID. We don't know yet who they are. Now, if you're an admin or an account owner, you will see your profile breakdown in the dashboard. So you'll see the known plus the unknown, which will equal the total number of profiles. It is a simple but quite powerful view to help you understand where your data stands and how much potential is waiting to be unlocked. Opri, you talk a lot with clients. How about in your own words? Can you explain to someone what a profile in Apsis 1 is, and can you walk us through the profile journey from who to hello to help us unlock this potential in the platform?
Of course, Agneta, thank you for the question. So if we are looking a little bit what Agneta just described, we have 2 different ways to distinguish profiles in Apsis 1. We have unknown profiles. If you are using our website script, you will gather this data automatically in Apsis 1. When someone lands to your website, nonetheless for the source, is it emails, direct Google, whatever it is, summer campaign, those are created as an unknown profile with a cookie ID in your account, right? When we are talking about non-profiles, we use another type of identifier. In this example, usually it is an email, but you could have also several different sources, as Agnete said, for example, CRM ID as a profile identifier. In these cases, you are able to quite effectively separate your email marketing profiles and your customers. So if you want to do that, you can use two different keys to separate these profiles in the audience. However, what is quite nice is that if we have someone landing on the website and then they are filling out a form as an example, and you send an email to them, and they click on your website, we can actually merge the website behavior data with that profile, which gives you a possibility to also send a targeted communication based on their website behavior, which is quite powerful way to also target, for example, your leads.
Absolutely. So all these unknown profiles is a potential waiting to be unlocked. So that's the concept of profiles, unknown and known. Now, next cornerstone in data-driven marketing, consent. And in Apsis 1 and in general, consent is channel specific. So you provide your consent for your for email marketing, for SMS marketing, and for tracking on the website separately. And the consent is needed to be able to even communicate, but we also need a structure so that we can manage these in a compliant way. The consents must always be freely given, specific, informed, and unambiguous. It also means that the profiles need to understand what they are saying yes to and why. And just as important, always they have the possibility to withdraw that consent at any time. So email consent, SMS consent, and website tracking, meaning cookie consent. It helps us understand also the behavior of our profiles. Now, don't see this as just a checkbox. It's not just about staying compliant. It's about trust and respect, building credibility, and we'll get to this later on, improving deliverability. The consent actually defines the connection. And in Apsis 1, you can break down the profile consent statuses by channel and by subscription. And we'll talk a bit more about subscriptions in just a little bit. First, we have the active profiles, the consents, where they have opted in actively. They've subscribed, they have given you consent, and they're ready to receive your messages. These are your engaged and reachable contacts. Next, we have the non-active profiles. They may have opted out, which means that they've unsubscribed and they have withdrawn the consent. These profiles, these are off limits. You also have the status pending opt-in. And this is a profile in a double opt-in process where they haven't yet confirmed their subscription, which means that they're not eligible to receive marketing communication until they have actually confirmed their consent. So back to respect and trust. Celebrate the opt-ins, but always respect an opt-out. So to manage your consents, you need a structure to do so. And you can say that the structure in Apsis 1 has two main components, folders and subscription. And very simplified, we can say that a subscription is a grouping of profiles connected to specific consent, like newsletters. A folder is a container for your subscriptions, so you can organize your consents. As a consent is always tied to not only a channel, as mentioned previously, but also always to a subscription. If a profile opts out, it's for that subscription, not the whole folder or the section of the account. So to summarize, the consent is stored at the profile level per subscription per channel. Now your consent structure will always mirror your consent and marketing strategy. So let's look at two examples. In the first example on the left side, the structure is very simple. In the folder, external communication, we have one subscription, one channel, which basically means we have one consent for all email communication. So if I opt in for both newsletters and webinar invitation at the same time. And when I opt out, I'm actually withdrawing my consent for both as well, which means no more marketing emails from the external communication. In the other example on the right-hand side, the structure offers a bit more granularity. We still have one folder, but we have two subscriptions. In this case, a profile can give consent to either webinar invitations or newsletters. And it also means that I can opt out from either webinar invitations or newsletters, but keep getting information on the other one. And as a marketeer in Apsis One, I can choose to send to one subscription only or all subscriptions in one folder. So again, the structure should always reflect your marketing and consent strategy. There is no one size fits all, and that is why Apsis One also has the flexible base to accommodate for our clients' different needs. We will do a deep dive into different ways of structuring folders and subscriptions in the account in the webinar, Manage Your Subscriptions. It's on the 28th of November, so remember to sign up. We can't really talk about managing profiles and consents without talking a little bit about deliverability. The number of consents in your subscriptions probably doesn't match the actual number of profiles in the email when you schedule it to send it. Because not only do we only send to active profiles, we also exclude bad email addresses automatically for you, protecting sender reputation for you as well as for us. Bad email addresses are identified as hard bounces, and the two main types are invalid recipient and bad domain. Apsis One as a platform has an overall deliverability rate of 98%, but that doesn't automatically mean that all our clients get it. It's all part of best practice profile management, ensuring both consent and good data quality. Now, Opry, our participants today might wonder what they should think about to achieve good deliverability numbers, and also what goal to set for that. Could you share some insights, please?
Yes, of course. So on an average, and if we are looking at the best practice throughout all of the MarTech platforms, we are looking at 98 or higher deliverability for all of your sendings, right? So we're looking at 2% of bounce rate. However, it's good to remember that we are not expecting to have 100% deliverability, because bounce is natural and it happens. And therefore, the systems also outside of Apsis One are supporting the fact that they will remove the addresses that are not working anymore. So as an example, as Agnete said, a quite common use case is that you have clients in your subscription and you send an email. You have someone who has worked in a company A and has left their job and is now working in a company B. So the email address that they were using in company A is not working anymore. So it doesn't make any sense, first of all, to send that email, or second of all, you wouldn't get any engagement out of those emails. So it's better to remove them, because there are also other things that are affecting on your deliverability, which is linked to the engagement of the emails that you are sending out. If you want to be able to compare a little bit like how your campaigns are working against the benchmark, I'm recommending you to download the 2025 email benchmark report from our website, because it has a lot of other metrics too, for you to be able to see how your results are compared to benchmark, and are you doing well, or do you need to do something else? And if you want to try something new, it also gives you a hands-on tips how to work and create better emails. However, I think it's natural that we will continue to talk about a little bit on the data model next, meaning that how I, as a marketeer, can segment my base in a way that I can send my emails to the customers who are engaged and that they get targeted and nice campaigns from us that they found interesting.
Absolutely. I would also just take the opportunity to push for the webinar Succeed with Your Email Campaigns. It's on the 18th of November, just before Christmas, where we deep dive more into deliverability and more of these numbers. So sign up and stay tuned. All right, data model. We have talked about the foundation of profile and consent organization, structure and management. Now it's time to look at how we can structure the data about the profiles in a way that empowers us to do great marketing campaigns. Starting with attributes. These are the profile details that tell you about the individual, like name, email, role, company, maybe anniversary dates. I love those. They help you understand more about the person. A profile's values in the attributes may change over time and can be overwritten. For instance, I get married and I change my last name. Secondly, we have tags. Think of them as internal markers or labels that you can apply to your profiles, like flags to help you identify, segment, or trigger campaign in a controlled way. As an example, if you have a trial flow, you put the trial user flag on the profiles signing up for the free trials. And then they use those in marketing automation to trigger this great nurturing flow to convert the trial user to a customer. A profile will have the tag or they won't have the tag. The tag itself doesn't really hold a value. The attributes and tags together, they are the properties. And last but not least, these are super important, we have events. Actions and interactions performed or initiated by the profiles. Clicking on a link, opening an email, starting a trial, visiting a page. These events capture behavior, and it gives you insights to personalize communication and set up agile and dynamic marketing automation campaigns. The tags, the attributes, and the events, they give you this complete picture of each profile, the very powerful 360 view. So let's look at how you can actually create the attributes and tags in Apsis 1 to create your data model. And this is really straightforward and easy. So I navigate to the account settings in my account, and I open my sections, which then gives me access to the data model. Again, this is only available if you're an admin or an account owner. I create my attribute. In this same example, we're going to go for country because it helps us segment the communication based on which country the profiles are based. I can always go in and edit my attributes and assign external sources and rights for them to read or write in the attributes. Creating tags, just as simple. I go to the tab for tags. I give the tag a name and I save it, and it's now ready to be used. And again, a tag is a flag. You have it or you don't. It doesn't really hold a value. Now, this is super important, and it helps us build a structure and a data model for our profiles. But how can I use this now in a good way? Could you help us connect this data model to the story you told us, Opri, about the profile journey from who to hello?
Of course. I just want to take first a little bit of time about events because that is one of my favorite things in the platform, right? And I see a lot of our customers using attributes and tags to segment. However, with the events, you are able to do quite a bit more, because we also have custom event possibility, and that is available for the automate and grow packages, meaning that you can send any type of a signal outside of the MarTech platform to us, and then we can do real-time communication based on those signals in Apsis One. So if you are looking at upgrading or doing something extra in the account, I would recommend to look into the custom events, and if you can utilize that in your communication. But if we are looking at the Profile 360 view in here, what is good to remember is that we start to gather the data. And because we have events, and those are historical, meaning that we never overwrite them, it will enrich the profile throughout the customer journey. So we are in the beginning of a journey in here. We can see that we have someone visiting our website in July 2025, but this is the only thing that we know about this profile. Then the person leaves their email address on a form on the website, and all of a sudden we see a little bit more coming in, and we enrich the profile more. So at this point we have gathered data from two sources. So we will have the website script, and then we've been using the form tool in the account. This time we already know that we have attributes and we have the events in the profile, and we see that, okay, this is Opry, and then they are interested in our products, as an example. And at this point, it might be that we have qualified this lead, and we could even in the marketing automation flow, at a point where the form is submitted, send that information to our sales team, who has now logged the lead in their system, let's say CRM. And then by, I think it was October, I become a customer. And at that point, we can also send data from that third party source in, and all of a sudden we have a lot more full profile with the company data, when I signed the deal, what was the value of that deal, and we can actually utilize this data to do segmented sendouts, or in this case, as an example, start a welcome flow.
That's perfect. And again, promoting a bit, there is a webinar in this webinar series about cases like this. So sign up for the Marketing Automation, Your Core Nurturing Flows. It's on the 6th of February. Now we have the structure for consents. We have the folders and subscriptions, and we also have the data model. We want to use it. It's time to start creating, adding, and then updating our profile so we can start communicating. And how can I do that? Well, to simplify, we're going to focus on 4 main options. I can use forms, as in the example Opry gave. There is a sign up, a webinar registration, a content download, any type of lead magnet that you might have. And every time someone fills out the form, a profile is created, and we can capture the consent immediately. You can, of course, create them manually by just logging in to Apsis One and do it one by one. It's handy if you only have a quick entry or a small list with very limited data. But if you have more than that, I would definitely recommend doing an import. You can import either an ad hoc file at any time, but you can also schedule recurring imports from your CRM or other external sources. It helps you keep your database updated and consistent, and you don't have to put the manual effort in. Last but not least,
I was just going to, Agneta, sorry, I was just going to also say that scheduled import is a very easy way to also automatically add data to your system. So it doesn't take that much effort from the IT. Continue.
Exactly.
Sorry.
And I will try to remember to pause the video so that we can see where you do it as well.
Yeah.
But that in just a second. We also offer the possibilities, of course, to create profiles using API or integrations. We have plug and play integrations, or you can build your own fully custom. And the One API is available. It allows your systems to talk to Apsis One in real time, creating or updating profiles automatically, and ensuring that consent is always recorded correctly. But let's move over to the how, starting with forms. This is an example from our own marketing where you can download our marketing planning template. Here you provide your email address and some additional data alongside with the consent, confirming your data and accepting the terms and conditions, and then you confirm. In Apsis 1, the data you filled in is mapped to the attributes in the data model, and the email address here is a unique profile key. As an example, we see that company name in the form is then mapped to the text input attribute company name in Apsis 1 to make sure we get the data in the data model and can start using it. And of course, we define the channel and the subscription for the consent. So channel here is email, and the subscription for the consent here is called international. Super easy. Manually, yes, I can do it manually. And as I said, really quick and handy if you have just a few profiles you want to create. So I go into the audience and I start creating my profiles. Provide the email address. And I'm going to create Opera here, my favorite example. And I click next. Now starting to add the attributes, because I have more data about her than just the email address. So I fill in the attributes, the default ones that the platform provides in the accounts, and then some custom ones that we use in the account. And I create the profile. So now I have created the profiles, but I also need to make sure that I add the correct channel consent and subscription consent. And once I've done that, Opera is ready to start receiving some information. To make it even more targeted, and I know Opera is one of my favorite experts when it comes to integrations in Apsis 1, I of course want to send her the integration survey, so I put my internal flag on the profile to make sure that she's part of that segment as well. Easy and handy if you only have a few entries. But import is smoother and quicker if I have more than one. And it's probably still the most used way of adding profiles to the audience. So let's look how it's done within the platform. Okay, starting the video. I can go to the same place as where I add them manually, but we have a tab for imports. So no, I couldn't pause. That was very weird. Let's go back and see if we can do it again. So again, going back to the tab for import, we have some options. I can use the import wizard to delete and unsubscribe profiles as well. Adding the unique identifier, as we talked about in the beginning, it's the email and the subscription. So I need to make sure that I add the channel consent and the subscription consent. Automatically, the file will map my data as long as the column headers have the same name as the attributes. And I get a little overview, and I can now start to import my profiles. In the view, as we can see here, I can choose to add something that is called import event. And I have one foot in product, so I'm always proud to present new features that can make your marketing and communication efficient and easier, helping you to save time and open doors for agile communication and actionable data. So when you upload your file, you can choose to add this import event. Opera, this is a highly requested feature, and we released it now a few months ago, and I know you're quite excited about this one, right?
Yes, I really wanted to highlight it because not everybody knows it's there, because it's a little bit like you usually go import to like, I know what I'm doing, so you might not see that it is added there. And I have a couple of examples when you might want to use it. So let's say that you have been part of an exhibition and you have gathered some emails out of that and you want to add them to your newsletter subscriber group, but you want to send out an email just to that group that are in that specific email list that you are importing. Before, you would have created a tag and then it would use that tag to send out the email. You can still do that. However, if you do not want to create a tag every time you want to send a email to that specific group, you can now use the import event, which you can then choose in the email campaign editor. So you choose the subscription, and below that you can choose the import that you have just made and send the email just to that group. This would be also a great way to those who have let's say, customers that you are taking from your CRM system and you don't have an integration between the systems. So the list is always a little bit different. So you have people coming in and also people who are not customers anymore. You could use that profile event import to be able to send only to the active users.
Yes,
I want to be a little bit of a very Exactly. I want to be a little bit wary of the time because I can see we've been here for 30 minutes. So if you need to leave already and now, you will get the recording afterwards. But if you want to join for a little while, then we are still going to keep on going to the segmentation.
Yes, we are. Let's quickly move over to segmentation, because now when you have your structure for your consents, your folders and your subscriptions, and you have your data model, you want to be able to use the data. So creating segments is super smooth and easy, and it helps you create target audiences based on the data that you have. First, we are showing an example of using properties. So I'm going to choose the state opt-in because, again, I want to focus on the subscribers that are in my subscription with the state opt-in because they're active. They should also have an email address so that I am sure that I can send an email. And country should be then equal to Sweden because I only want to send information to my Swedish audience. Don't want to bother everyone else with information that is not relevant. Next, we are going to look at an example of using events to create the segment. Now we're adding also behavioral data. So we can look at the active audience that have opened or clicked in emails. We can exclude bounces, for instance. And we can look at specific URLs with a specific campaign. Say, for instance, that you have a campaign targeting a specific topic, and all those links are in different emails, and you just want to make sure that you can follow up on everyone who has interacted with that specific link. Sometime during the 4 last weeks, and at least once they should have clicked on this URL. And on the left-hand side, you see that you have a lot of event data available for your segmentation. So it's really up to you to define what would make sense for you and your audience. Last but not least, we have a really, really important feature that is connected to creating segments. And I'm going to hand over to Aubrey to talk about this because I know she loves this feature.
Yes, I do. It's so great. So maybe we will go back because we haven't talked so much about deleting profiles from the account, and we have just released a couple of months back soft released delete profiles in a segment feature, and in this case it gives you the power to build the segment in. For example, you could use the event data. So in Agnete's example, she wanted to pick profiles who've been active in the account. However, it's quite easy to also create a segments within activity. So then you can delete profiles who are inactive in the account and clean your audience and keep the audience levels on the level that you like to. So you simply create the segment. You click not what is next to calculate profiles. I don't remember now, show profiles. And then you will be on this view where you can just simply click delete. As we have soft launched this feature, please make sure to reach out to our support or your CSM or me and Agneta, and we will make sure to enable this in your account so you can get and start using it.